Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be Money, Success, and Love Follows Passion. Well, I've got 4 different emails I'm going to go through with you today. And there are a couple of variety of different topics, but they're all really centered around, at least for guys, what men should be focusing on so they can remain centered in their masculinity. Because at the end of the day, even women that are, when you look at high achievers, I think I was talking about this the other day on a video I did. You look at like an actress like Eva Longoria, who's very beautiful, very sexy, extremely feminine, but she's also a high achiever. And she's able to walk that balance between totally being in her masculine so she can achieve and succeed and have a great successful career, but she's also able to stay connected to her feminine side to the point where she doesn't act like a dude. Whereas you look at someone like Hillary Clinton, very successful, goes for the things she wants, but when she talks, her mannerisms, her body language, her physiology, the way she looks, she tends to look more masculine and act more like a dude than she does a woman in a lot of cases. And so when it comes to achieving, goal setting, accomplishing, that's masculine energy. And men and women both have masculine, feminine essences, but it's just which one tends to be more dominant. For guys, when guys struggle in relationships and they're having a problem, it's usually because they're not putting out enough of that vibe of leadership energy and going for the things that they want. And sometimes I have quite a few clients that are lesbian or gay women. And when I talk to them, it's the same thing. More masculine gay women tend to like very feminine women. And the problem arises in their relationships because obviously in society you got 2 women dating and everybody else around trying to project their beliefs and the way they should be, and the way they should think, and the way they should act. They run into problems when the masculine one doesn't stay in her masculine essence and tends to act a little more feminine. The interesting thing is when she starts to act more feminine and she's with a feminine woman, the sexual polarity dissipates and so does the attraction, and that's where problems come into play, where there's drama and things don't work out. But as soon as she moves right back into her masculine, like she's supposed to be, because that's her natural essence, in essence she feels like a man in a woman's body, then right away it's like the loss of sexual polarity dissipates and the sexual attraction returns literally almost instantly. And her girlfriend or her wife, or the relationship that she had that was going sideways, it starts to rebalance itself. That's a fascinating topic, but it's like when you understand that masculine and feminine energy, you can better understand yourself and what you need to focus on. And not only will it help you in your intimate relationships, but it'll help you out in life. So I got a quote that I want to share with you along this topic here that has to do with success and achieving. And it says, "You should never chase money. You should follow your passions and explore careers and businesses that excite you and make you come alive. Find a need that lots of people have and want to be filled, and synthesize that into a useful product or service that they will gladly pay for. It is said that it takes about 10,000 hours to become really great at something. Become great at doing something you love to the point that other people can't take their eyes off of you. You'll never do the work necessary to become great at something you hate. Money, success, and love always comes after following your heart, passion, curiosity, and intuition. If you are consumed with passions and actions that make you happy, relationships, money, and material things will be complements to an already great life. If you focus on making your life great, you'll never get sidetracked into falsely believing that relationships, money, or material things will make you happy. You make you happy. You can't give away what you don't already have for yourself." So let's get into the first email. This guy says, "Hey coach, I'm a PhD student in finance, and I have 3 more years to go. I'm thinking of my long-term goals. 3 options are clear. 1, stay in academia, initially as a postdoc, i.e. freedom to do work from home, moderate salary for the hours of work, go to work with informal clothes, and any time I choose. 2nd, work for a major bank like Goldman Sachs, much money, always dressed with a suit, work long hours and away from home, impress others, e.g. friends and relatives, but more money means a better house and the future wife won't have to work and thus be in her feminine more. Not necessarily. Like I was talking about earlier, Eva Longoria does a fucking awesome job of being a fucking sexy, gorgeous woman, but she's also an amazingly successful woman. And she doesn't lose her beautiful, attractive, feminine essence when she participates in her masculine side to achieve and become a successful actress and a successful entrepreneur and a leader, because she's also very involved in politics and causes that she believes in. Third, start a business, i.e. entrepreneur, huge risk, competition, work all day and night, but being free from bosses. Perhaps this should be left for the far future when I will have accumulated more knowledge. Now I'm trying to choose one of these options as my major goal. I am not sure which one to choose. Should I remain in academia or move to Goldman Sachs? Do money matter more than relaxation and relative freedom that academia offers? Well, I can't make your mind up for you, and I'm never going to tell you what you should and shouldn't do as a coach when it comes to choosing your purpose. That's something that you have to internalize and determine what feels right to you. And so I would ask yourself this: on a scale of 1 to 10, how emotionally compelling is it to go work for a company like Goldman Sachs in the finance industry? How emotionally compelling is it to work in academia on a scale of 1 to 10? How emotionally compelling is it to be or become an entrepreneur? You got to follow your passions. And like for me, the route that I chose to work for other people, because when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, I was going to college to become a project engineer, work in the construction industry, and because I wanted to ultimately buy, fix and sell and renovate homes. I wanted to be a builder. And so when I was choosing my college degree, I chose to go after something where I could in essence learn to build. And so I worked about 5 years in the industry. I worked for a very small company when I was first starting out. Then I worked for a medium-sized company, developer, general contractor, because I thought at some point maybe I wanted to develop single-family home communities or strip centers or malls or things of that nature. And then the last general contractor that I worked for was a large-scale company. It was Syntex Bruni, which was part of Syntex Construction Group. And back in the 90s, they were the largest builder in the world. And so I worked on a $150 million project. I went from working on $2 and $3 million projects to a $150 million project, where I was personally responsible. The divisions that I was in charge of was about $25–30 million worth of the portion of that job. In other words, I had a lot of responsibilities, making sure the materials and subcontractors were doing what they were supposed to be doing, so the superintendents could build the project on time and follow the 2-year construction schedule. So once I felt I had enough experience, I left and I went on my own, started buying and fixing and selling houses, which is the whole reason I went to school. And after a couple of months of that, I realized that when you're buying and selling houses, you only make money when you actually have a closing and you sell the house. So I went from having a steady weekly paycheck, or a bi-weekly paycheck, to only getting paid every couple of months, every 2 to 3 months when I had a closing. And I realized that I needed to have a way to supplement my income, because not only was I paying mortgages on these houses that I had bought, but I also had my own mortgage. I was married, obviously, at that time, and I had my own bills to pay, and I was just basically living off borrowed money. It was nice when I had a closing because I got a big check. I got all my money back that I had invested in the property through mortgage payments and closing costs and repair costs and holding costs and all of those things. Plus, I got my profit. But like I said, it's every 3 or 4 months. And plus, I wanted to learn how to find better quality deals where I could make more money on the individual properties I was doing. Because it's basically the same amount of work. And so, I mean, it makes sense. If you're making $10,000, $12,000 profit on a property, ideally it'd be a lot nicer if you could buy a property a lot cheaper the next time around and maybe make $15,000 to $20,000 on each deal that you do. And so I actually went to work because I got my real estate license and actually became a real estate agent for a company that's all they pretty much specialized in, so I could better learn to find better deals for myself, plus make some side income to help pay the bills in between when I had closings for myself. Plus, I could also learn the finance side of things and learn how to sell the properties myself, because I was originally depending upon a realtor to sell my own properties. And so I eventually basically learned all aspects of that business. And then a year and a half later, I left with my 2 business partners, and we started several companies together. And just over the years, when I saw opportunity, we all were developing different areas of our business. But when the divisions that I was working in, when I saw opportunity to make money, I got into doing general real estate and mortgages, and kind of got away from the fixer-upper business, even though I still like to renovate and build. And that's something I still love to do to this day. And what started out as a hobby, personal development, self-help, personal growth, that I started doing when I was a teenager. And I was always helping people with the things that I learned. I used to mentor at-risk kids in the late 90s. And ultimately, when I had people working for me, I was training a lot of my employees and teaching them the self-help things that I learned, because it made them more effective and efficient salespeople. And therefore, they would convert a much higher ratio of the leads that I was spending basically $50,000 a month in television advertising to generate. And so not only did I make them more successful and make them more money, I made myself more money in the process, and I got the satisfaction of mentoring them and teaching them things that I was really passionate about, until ultimately one day I realized that I was more passionate about self-help and synthesizing that into a career than I was being in general real estate and mortgages. And I still love to build. It's still a great passion of mine. When I walk into a building, I look around, I look at the quality and the craftsmanship. I look at how things are built. That's still exciting to me. When I see a construction site, I love the smell of fresh cut lumber. It's something that I really still have a passion for. It's just kind of evolved over time. And that's what you see when you go through life. And so you're going to have to do something to pay your bills, because if you want to become an entrepreneur, unless you have people that want to you have a great idea and they're willing to give you money to create a startup, the best thing you can do is go work for somebody else doing something that you're curious about and you're passionate about. Because I did that a lot in my 20s. I jumped around every 2 to 3 years. I would change companies that I worked for, because I would have an interest, a curiosity, and a passion. And I'd go work for that company. I'd gain that experience. And when I kind of got bored of working there, I feel like there really weren't many more challenges that I could explore, I changed companies and I went a different route. And that's, I've always followed my passion, though. I've always followed my curiosity. I've always followed what felt right to me. And when I got to the point when I was working for somebody where I was having to force myself to go to work, and I was having to force myself to do the things that I was getting paid to do, then I knew it was time to move on and explore something else. And that's what you really should learn to listen to, is your own internal voice. So go work for somebody else. Like I said, the way you should really look at it is on a scale of 1 to 10. What are you most passionate about? What's more emotionally compelling to you? Working as a teacher or professor, or working in the banking and finance industry? You shouldn't go work for a company like Goldman Sachs if you're just chasing money. Because if you don't really like the job, you're not going to really put your heart and soul into becoming great at it. And that's what you should do to help you determine and make up your own mind as to which direction that goes. Because when you're doing something you really love and you have a passion for, it shows. And people will naturally, friends, family, lovers, they'll just be drawn into your world and your life because they see that you have a passion for something. You, in essence, have come alive. And when we've all met people in our lives, when we get around them, they just make us feel good because they're happy. They're always smiling. When you ask them what they do, they're excited to tell you about it. They're excited to tell you about what they're passionate about, and they love sharing that. And we all love, and it's like, think about it. When we watch TV or the programs that we're interested in, we're always interested to follow the biographies or the story of how really successful people got to become successful, because we can learn from them. That's what I've spent my life doing. I've spent my life studying successful people and the best coaches, the best mentors and teachers and business people in the world, because I learned something from everyone. That's why I love to read. I love to read the biographies. It's like one of my favorite biographies I've read in the past few years is Steve Jobs' biography. It's fucking brilliant. Think about it. This guy became a multi-billionaire before he passed away, And he gives away some of his best knowledge and his best teachings and his greatest life lessons and wisdom. So when you study the biographies of other people like that, you learn to think how they think. And if you apply what you learn from them in your own life, it's called success factor modeling, you're going to get the same kinds of results in your own life. That's why I love teaching this, because I'm teaching you my wisdom and things that I've learned, and then you can take that wisdom and go apply it in your own life and shortcut your success so you don't have to beat your head against the wall for 20 years figuring out all the things that I basically spent the last couple decades of my life learning. So that's what I would do if I were you. So let's get into the second email. This guy says, "Hey Corey, I recently discovered your coaching videos about 6 months ago. You were spot on about everything. I even used your tips to get my girlfriend back after we had a fight and she asked me if I wanted to just be friends." Yeah, that ain't no fun. "I just repeated verbatim what you said. How can I be friends with you when I still want to hold you and kiss you and touch you? And I told her no, and we couldn't be friends, and that if she changed her mind, my door would be open for her." Fucking brilliant, dude. Good fucking job. "I stopped contacting her, and a week later, she called me to say that she missed me and wanted to get back together." Yeah, you stated your purpose. She said, "Hey, well, maybe we should just be friends." And you're like, "Fuck that noise. There's no way I'm down with that." And you walked. The strongest negotiating position is being able to walk away and mean it. Because for you to stay in that relationship as a friend, hoping she'll change her mind later, you're being weak, you're acting feminine and acting submissive. And of course, she's going to not develop any sexual polarity with you because you're agreeing to just be her friend. Basically, she knew that she pushed you too far and you were like, that doesn't work for me, I'm out of here. But baby, give me a call if you change your mind because I'd really love to see you. So he says, "Thanks, man, it worked perfectly. And that was 6 months ago, and now she's broken up with me again. Recently, her father, who lives in Mexico, found out that he has cancer, so she's had to take on a second job to support him and her mother. He's gotten more ill, and the doctors are saying that he most likely doesn't have too long to live. Along with that, she has a 2-year-old son. Some days, she barely gets an hour or two of sleep. So I haven't been pushing her for any time, just letting her know that if she needed anything to let me know. Basically hanging back and letting her initiate and then asking to see her when she has time. This past week when we were together, she told me at the beginning of our date that she just couldn't handle having a boyfriend right now with everything going on, but that she loved me. I just said okay and seduced her." Fucking good job. It's like you just loved her. You got to love in such a way that the person you love feels free. In essence, her way of dealing with this is like, I can't deal with having a boyfriend. You probably were chasing her a little too much, and so she felt uncomfortable. And you were like, "No problem. Give me a call when you want to see me, baby. I love you. I adore you." And what happened? You walked away, and she's missing her rock and her mountain. And what happened? She reaches out. You hung out, you had fun, and you hooked up. You gave her the opportunity to deal with what she has to deal with her family and with obviously her father basically being on his deathbed, and you let her come back to you when she needed her rock and her mountain. He says, "We had sex, and during it she told me that she loved me again. It was bittersweet though, because I knew that she meant it about breaking up. She loved you. Remember, relationships, dating, labels, commitment, bonding, connection, love, all that shit, that's the woman's department. That's feminine energy. It's none of your fucking business, bro. Hang out, have fun, hook up. Be direct, be decisive. Make dates that can lead to great love-making sessions. That's all you need to focus on. And that's the problem. You get focused on the relationship and what you are. You pursue a little too much. You start acting like a woman in essence. And it dissipates the sexual polarity. It causes her to doubt your masculine core. And what does she do? She pushes you away. Why'd she push you away? Because you weren't acting like a man 100% of the time. But then you walked away and she started to doubt herself because it's a feminine quality to be unsure of oneself. And what happened? She reached out to you to determine what your feelings are. What'd you do? When a woman reaches out, assume she wants to see you. Make a date. Hang out, have fun, hook up. When I dropped her off, she asked me if I wanted to be friends, and I said no. I couldn't be just friends when I was still in love with her. Perfect response. A few days go by with no contact from her, and And I started to question if I was being a total ass about how I handled it with her and her father and all. She's unilaterally changing the terms of your relationship. 6 months ago, she stuck you in friend zone. You said, that doesn't work for me. And here we are 6 months later, she puts you in friend zone. You have to be consistent. You have to say, I'm not down with that. I'm sorry that you're going through this difficult time with your father, but breaking up with me and putting me in friend zone so I can become your gay male girlfriend, it's like, how does that meet my needs? I mean, my needs are important too, and you're the one that's deciding that you don't want to work on our relationship anymore. That's okay, but I still love you. If you change your mind, you know how to get a hold of me because I think you're fucking so hot and sexy. I do honestly love her. So today I contacted her and told her that I loved her and asked if she wanted to move in with me. Come on, man. See, this is what happens. You're not centered. You're acting like a woman. You're all trying to lock her down. This is all bonding, commitment type of stuff. This is feminine energy. You're not acting like a man here right now. She pushes away saying she needs space, and what do? You move more into your feminine and start acting like a girl instead of a man. And let's see, what is her answer going to be? Predictably, probably it's going to be no, isn't it? I'm psychic like that. So I asked her if she wanted to move in with me so that she wouldn't have to worry about rent, allowing her to quit one job and get some rest as well as time to spend with her son. That way she could also keep one job to send money back home. Do you think that was a bad move? Fuck yeah, dude, because you're not acting like a man. You're acting like a woman now. All that's going to do is confuse her and cause her to doubt your masculine core. She told me that although she loved me, she just didn't want a boyfriend at this time and that she wasn't ready to live with anyone. Duh. She just wants to hang out, have fun, and hook up. This tells me that you were smothering the girl. And since you were acting like a woman, she couldn't deal with her boyfriend acting like a woman. And that's why she dumped you. You obviously were pursuing too much beforehand. He says, obviously that's why I'm writing you. I told her that I totally understood why she couldn't handle anything else. Really? See, when you say something like, oh, I totally understand, the woman's thinking, well, you just asked me to move in with you. If you really understood where I'm coming from, I'm trying to get space, you wouldn't try to get me to move in with you. Hello? He says, once again, we said our goodbyes, wishing each other the best. Did I absolutely screw it up forever? I don't know about forever, but you need to stop contacting her. You need to stop moving forward because you need to have the attitude of like, I'm not down with being your gay male girlfriend. I'm not going to contact her anymore, but is my refusal to just be your friend at this time a dick move? Absolutely not. How is standing up for yourself and what you want a dick move? Any light you can shed on this matter would be greatly appreciated. Well, you were doing great until you asked her to move in with you and started pursuing her. I mean, you saw what you did. You just hung back. She called you. You got together. You hung out. You had fun. And you made love, dude. That's what you need to do. That's what she needs you for. Let her reach out to you and then make dates when she reaches out to you. It's really simple, dude. Don't complicate things. So let's get into the third email. This guy says, hey, Corey, I met this young lady online through an online dating website this past April, and she was the one that initiated contact. And we emailed and talked for about a month before we first met. She lives about 2 hours away. Well, that kind of sucks. For the first time near where she lives about 3 hours, we went to a winery, and after that, me embracing and kissing her and asking when she was going to see me again. That's a pretty weak statement, dude. Hey, when are we going to see? When am I going to get to see you again? You don't make dates the second date at the end of your first date. It makes you look needy and desperate. Because a guy's got lots of options. He's going to go back home. He's going to think, how was that? Do I want to see this girl again? Do I really want to drive 2 hours away to see a girl? And after a few days, or maybe 4 or 5 days, he's going to go, yeah, I definitely like to see her again. And then he's going to reach out and call her and set a date. And that whole time, she's going to be wondering, does he like me enough? I haven't heard from him. I wonder if he wants to see me. And she's going to be talking to her girlfriends about it. She's going to say, I went on this really great guy. We've been talking for a month. I haven't heard from him in several days. I wonder if he's still into me. What does that do? It has a positive effect on our attraction level for you. He says, not anymore, but the dates are great. We've been on 6 or 7 dates since. In the beginning, she used to call, text, and email and tell me about her day, but now she just emails and texts from time to time, usually when prompted. That tells me right then and there you are pursuing way too fucking much. The phone, the email, texting is for setting dates. You obviously must be new to my work, but you need to read the book, dude. You gotta learn the basics. He says, I did miss one date. My car broke down, which wasn't the deal breaker, but what I said a couple days later via text was, I hope you have a great day and I really miss you. You're sounding like a woman, dude, when you do that. When you send a text, you're like, hey, I got my car all fixed. I'd really love to see you. When are you free to get together next? That's decisive. That's masculine. But what you sent was acting like a woman, and she's going to be like, which she replied, how can you miss me? You don't even know me. Imagine that. You could see that coming a mile away. 4 days went by, and see, that's what happens when a guy starts talking about his feelings after only a few dates. And he's like, oh, I love you. I want to marry you. I think you're great. I want to be in a relationship. She's thinking, you don't even know me yet. Remember, women go out with the attitude of, are you good for me? Are you a good match for me? They just go out with the attitude of, hey, I want to see what happens, see where it goes. But you're all visually hung up on this girl, and you have this fantasy because you've seen too many movies of the way you think it should be, and you're projecting all this garbage onto her, and it's a total turnoff. That's why she's backing off from you, dude. He says, that weekend she came to my house with flowers for me in hand. I have a big garden, and one of the things that we have in common, I did not know that she was coming over until she was there, when she told me, I'm done, and yes, she said she wasn't working, and I said, why? And she said, distance. I thought no, because the whole thing had changed. No calls, no emails and texts. And I said I would miss her, and she said to call when I was up her way. So she basically dumped you. The real reason why she dumped you, it ain't the distance, is because you were acting like a woman. But I love women. They're sweet, and it's always thinking about everybody's feelings, but you know, they say that shit to a guy, and they hope he just figures it out. And some women probably think, oh, it's the distance, because they don't really understand why they get turned off. But the real reason why she got turned off is that you're acting like a woman. He says, neither one of us communicated for 3 weeks. Then I called, continuing to pursue, obviously, and said I would be going to see my cousin not far from where she lived, and I asked her to go with a hike afterwards. She said yes, and lo and behold, she gave me directions to her house. First time, yes, I'm surprised. Upon leaving for the hike, she tells her son to make sure there is enough sauce because I will be staying for dinner. I'm thinking, I will? Yes, I was surprised again. Well, you did wait 3 weeks. But the way you should have handled it, you should have said, hey, I'm not interested in just being friends. I'd really like to see you again. But if you're not going to make an effort, then hey. But hey, if you were in the area, give her a call. You see how he is? And so you did okay by that. But like I said, your womanly-like behavior is what got you dumped in the first place. So he says, after the hike, we had dinner. And then we built a fire in the backyard. We talked for 2 or 3 hours, where I get a small back massage with me doing the same a little further down, but she pulled away at that point. That's why it's important to understand the 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So she pulls away. That's when you lean back, you chill, you spread your legs out, you take up too much space, and you keep asking her questions. Then a few minutes later, 5 or 6 minutes later, you say, bring those beautiful lips over here again and kiss me. You just take it a little step further. I talk about that extensively in my book, which, by the way, you should definitely read, bro. He says, I get invited over for breakfast, and then we go to her favorite spot on the lake for an hour walk, hand in hand, back to her house, and then I go home. A big hug. I love how guys are like, a big wide hug. And 1 kiss. We met by my place once for a half-hour walk on the beach. After I asked her out without hesitation, she said yes to listen to her favorite band and dance the following weekend, where she was dancing Up My Leg. I know. She was turned on. That's when you got to make a move and go kiss her. See, the problem is you're being Mr. Nice Guy and trying to be respectful because you're like, oh, I really want to date this girl. But instead, she's turned on. She's having a good time. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. That is your mission if you choose to accept it. At the table, she invites me to go stargazing in December and lets me squeeze her thigh. He says, I know. It's like, I can tell, you're treating her like a celebrity. It's like, oh, your highness, ooh, can I squeeze your thigh? We dance, and I say goodnight, big hug, ooh goody, more hugs, and one kiss. The next morning, she buys me breakfast and we go to her favorite river spot. She asks for my email so she can send me pictures. She says all the pics turn out to be her favorite places and one tiny one of her and her dog, if that means anything. Well, she's probably sending you the pics of her favorite places to go to, probably hinting that maybe on one of your future dates that you should take her there and surprise her with it. We just went out one weekend before last, and I pick her up and we walk for 4 hours, and we're hand in hand and arm in arm or arm around waist, and both of us initiate the action or actions. After dinner, we went out for a couple of drinks and listened to her favorite band, and she asked me to dance, but I declined. Yeah, even if you look like a jackass, fucking get out there and get your freak on, dude, even if you look like a fool. Because women will appreciate you going and dancing even if you look like Steve Urkel, as opposed to going, no, I don't want to dance. Because it shows you have a lack of confidence. You're worried about what other people think. Men, masculine men are like, fuck it, I'll look like a jackass. Or if she's a good dancer, she's like, great, you can fucking teach me. Then I asked her to dance, and she said she didn't want to upset me or make me uncomfortable. I let it go. He says, so we go back to her house where we chat until 12. I leave for my hotel, then I come back in the morning where she makes breakfast. She brings out her laptop to shop for car tires and pushes it to me and sits it on my lap, a first. See, women like guys to fucking fix shit and handle shit. That's masculine energy, because she doesn't want to be bothered with making these kind of decisions. And it's a good sign. When a woman trusts a guy, she'll want him to help her get her car fixed and stuff like that. It's not that you become her butler, but you're on a date and you're hanging out with her and she's like, hey, please help me. And so that's when you move into your masculine role and you handle that shit. Doesn't mean you go and pay for her tires. You call around and say, great, you need tires in your car? Great, let's get this handled. And you go, you pick a place, you call around, get a few prices, you show up, you drop the car off, and then you and her hang out, and then they call when her car is ready, and then you go pick it up. He says, of course I put my arm around her waist and hips tightly. We go order tires and go for a little sightseeing all the time, arms around her waist and initiating that. Where's all the kissing, dude? Where's the making love at? You're too timid and shy. He says, we go back to her house and I say my goodbyes. Big hug, one kiss. And she says she had a nice time. Yeah, you're too timid there to make a move, dude. The week goes by and a couple of emails and text exchange with light subjects, tires, shooting stars. So the day before I see your videos, I decide I'm going to bake cookies and send them to her with a card asking her out the coming weekend. Yeah, that's pretty feminine, dude. I gave her the choice of, women don't like choices, bro. They want you to invite them places so they can just show up, look hot, and have you lead things to a romantically fun, successful conclusion in the bedroom later on in the evening. You're supposed to know what to do and how to do it. They don't want to tell you. They don't want to make you into the perfect man. They want you to understand how to be masculine and be the leader. He says, I gave her the choice of 3 hikes, and I say, I had a nice time in the previous meet. FedEx says they left the box on the porch Tuesday. No call, text, email from her or me. The reason she didn't respond is because you're asking her basically to be the man. Hey, Your Highness, where would you like me to take you to this weekend? It's a bad way to go, bro. He says, I called yesterday to see if she wants to go, and I know the answer already, and her cell rings 4 or 5 times and it goes to voicemail and I leave a message. I see her on Gmail late at night, but I don't do anything, and I shut my computer off and I went to sleep. This morning she emails back and she says, hi, thanks for the yummy cookies. What a nice surprise. You're a man of many talents. My dog got a taste and I have plans this weekend, so I won't be able to go for a hike. Gosh darn. Might be some rain this weekend anyways. And then he replies back, he says, yeah, I was wondering, and I thought maybe use them in the fire pit for kindling. So in other words, yeah, I thought you thought my cookies suck and you just burned them because you don't appreciate me or care about me or love me. Poor me, boo-hoo, I'm acting like a woman again. Glad to hear you and your dog liked them. No rain this week, but have fun whatever your plans are. I sent something to her after each date. Flowers, a card, I bought her a pumpkin, and sent cookies and card. Stop this, right? Yeah, because that comes off as a bribe for sex. In other words, you're trying to make up by doing external things, in other words, giving her material things because you feel like you lack something inside. But the key is attraction ain't a choice. She had no choice but to reach out to you and email you and start this whole courtship. Think about it. And then you start trying to make up for what you feel you lack inside by buying her things. It's like way too much, dude. And then she starts to expect that every time you go out with her, you're going to buy her something. It's like a bribe for sex. And you're not really making a move. It's like you're acting like the gay male girlfriend or her therapist when you go out, with a little bit of touching, a little kind of platonic touching and arms around the waist. That's the kind of thing a gay male girlfriend does. They hold hands and they put their arms around each other and maybe give an occasional peck on the cheek and a hug. You say, should I keep asking her out once a week and initiate a plan and get a hotel room for stargazing in December? Stop communicating for a while? I'm not sure. She went from hot for me to not, still there, but not reaching out anymore. The dates are great, but there is nothing in between. I would wait 2 weeks. Don't call her, don't contact her, don't do anything. And if you don't hear from her after 2 weeks, get in touch with her, call her up, say, hey, I'm going to be in the area and I'd really love to see you. When are you free to get together? And that's how you reach out. And that way it presupposes that she wants to see you and wait for her to get back to you. See, part of the problem is you're not waiting for her to get back to you. It's like you kind of act like a stalker. You send a little FedEx package, you don't hear from her, so you start blowing up her phone. Bad way to go, dude. It makes you look needy and insecure. So hang back, wait 2 weeks, don't do anything, call her and say, hey, I'm going to be in town, I'd really love to see you. Say it just like that. When are you free to get together? And then make a date. And if she says, I don't know, I'm not sure, I'm kind of busy this weekend, things are real crazy right now with the holidays, or if she gives you some kind of BS like that, then you say, great. Get in touch with me when your schedule frees up and we'll plan something then. And then you walk and you never ever look back. That means you don't call her, you don't text her, you don't do anything. It takes two to make a relationship work. Remember, she reached out to you first. She liked your picture so much. Why? Because attraction's not a choice and she couldn't help herself. Whatever reason you did it for, Mother Nature took care of that already. But your real problem is you started acting like a woman, and that's why things went sideways for you. So you got to clean up your game and read the book, dude. So let's get into the fourth and final email. This guy says, hey, Corey, I'm all over the place. I've been going to a therapist now for over 2 months, and she can't really give me advice. She just listens, but no real specifics to work on. I've recently moved to my dad's, and I have an apartment closer to the city, and this after dealing with a foreclosure and his health issues. He's 92 and I'm 41. This gap caused a lot of problems, not only with his care, but also with my sanity and my desire to go out. I am my dad's caretaker, if you will, but it pains me to think of me as this. I'm pushing each day, but man, I feel I'm slowly losing it. Also, I have regressed back into the shy guy, lack of confidence and feelings of unworthiness to say the least. I need help. Also, I'm willing to book a phone session should you think it necessary. I'd say abso-fucking-lutely, dude. Here's what you need to really focus on. You need to focus on having a purpose and a mission in your life, something that's emotionally compelling to you. Because it sounds like you got a lot of things that you're doing just to kind of get by in life and you're not really jazzed about it. You got to figure out what it is that you want to do with your life. Something that's really emotionally compelling, the kind of thing that gives you goosebumps when you think about doing it at the highest level. The kind of thing that brings tears to your eyes when you think about doing it at the highest level. And if you don't know what that is or you're unsure, follow your curiosities, follow your passions, follow your interests. What kind of websites do you read? What kind of articles or magazines do you subscribe to? What kind of TV programs do you read? What are your hobbies? In some way, shape, or form, you're already involved in things that you're passionate about. And so the key is to find a way to get involved in the things that are your hobbies and your passions in a way that obviously you can get compensated for it, either by working for somebody else or maybe by building some kind of business on the side while you work a job to earn a steady income. But what you got to understand is success sometimes may take a decade or longer to get to where you really want to be in your life. And that's why it's important to choose something that you really have a passion for and that's really emotionally compelling to you. And if you still don't know what that is and you'd like to get my help personally, then the quickest way is to go to my website and book a paid phone or Skype coaching session. Just click the products tab, which will be on any page of your screen, and follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.